Calling to order the Historic Preservation Commission for the City of Ojai regular meeting on Thursday, September 11th, 2025. Let's see. I have a question. Might as well ask now. What exactly do you want me to read out loud from this?
Chair, you've been doing a great job.
Okay.
Of reading what it is that you do read, and it's your meeting.
I always feel like I never know if I'm reading too much or too little, so I thought I'd ask. Nope. Okay. There you go. All items on the agenda, important. I'm just going to go back to the beginning. This is in person, and we also are meeting broadcast via teleconference. Members of the public wishing to address the Historic Preservation Commission on items appearing on the agenda are requested to complete a speaker's card, if in person, and file it with the secretary. Cards are available in the lobby. Speakers should state their name for the record and limit comments to 3 minutes or less. Important notice for live hearing participation. All items on the agenda, including exhibits for the meeting, will be available for viewing on the city's website for live electronic observation during the meeting. Instructions for viewing are online. Okay. So now we go to roll call.
Chair McCann.
Here.
Commissioner Moore. Here. Commissioner Walker.
Here.
Commissioner Moore.
Here.
Commissioner Akins.
Here.
Absent Vice Chair Sims and Commissioner Visasha, and we have one vacancy.
Right. Can we stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If I could interrupt at this point before public communications, I'd like to introduce Adam Menser. He's our attorney this evening, and he is attending remotely. We can see him on the screen up there. And Adam and I have met before. However, he hasn't been at this commission before. So welcome, Adam. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good evening, commissioners.
Okay. Public communication is a time set aside during the Historic Preservation Commission meeting for members of the public to address the HPC on items of city business other than scheduled agenda items. Matters raised at this time may be briefly discussed by the commission and will generally be referred to staff and or placed on a subsequent agenda. Under state law, other than emergency items, no action will be taken. Do we have anyone who would like to speak in public comment?
No one online.
And was he getting a card for?
Steve, are you wishing to speak public comment?
No, thank you.
All right, so we're going to close public comment and go to the museum report.
Yes, thank you, Chair. The infamous chapel roof replacement is scheduled to start next Wednesday, September 17th, and will last 2 weeks. Kristen, who works with Wendy, and she met today with Joseph Padilla, the city contractor, and so that work is scheduled to take place. The museum will remain open while the work is being done, but the parking lot will be off limits, just in case you don't want to get hit by a tile. Metamorphosis is the current exhibit that's taking place. It's our annual exhibition that we do in conjunction with the Ojai Studio Artists. It's on view now. At the end of the year, we will be featuring a Women of the Ojai Valley 100 Years of History. So I look forward to that. Thank you, Chair.
I would like to add, we are doing a little event ourselves at the museum on Ojai Day.
October 18th.
Okay, thank you. All right, now we go to consent items. We have minutes from the August 14th regular meeting. Does anyone have any comments or corrections?
I have some questions and some comments on the first page about down at the bottom where it has the motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting. It says as amended, but it doesn't include the amendments. Is that something we should have? So that someone reading the minutes would know how they were amended?
I think it's pretty typical to do exactly what's been done here. And if somebody wanted to know is how they were amended, which is usually just a minor correction, they would have to go back to the minutes, to the
okay.
previous video, probably.
And the same thing on the top of the next page. It says about the site visits and ex parte contacts. It just says that all members present reported that they had done site visits, but it doesn't say where they went. Is that something that should
So
be in the minutes?
That's our switch to action minutes, where it's
Yeah.
going to just summarize instead of itemize.
Okay. And then about 3/4 of the way down that second page, it looked like just a typo there. It's under where the motion by Commissioner Walker moved and Vice Chair Sims. On the second line, it says, the item to bring request the applicant to bring back a revised, it doesn't read correctly. It might say, Chair Sims seconded the motion to continue the item and to request the applicant bring back a revised color palette. Just because it looks like the words got a little garbled in there.
So I agree.
Okay.
Completely. So we can change that and then bring it back at the next meeting.
Okay, and then on the third page, about a third of the way down, it has Mary Nelson, and her name is O-N, not E-N. Nelson. And then, let's see. On the number 5, where it puts the pamphlets, do we need to name those pamphlets, or does that matter either, that we don't name? Because we did approve 2 of them, but not the third one. We didn't approve the one on the Mills Act. I don't believe. We just did the landmark and the walking tour. Is that right?
So how does that work with action minutes when,
There are no black and white rules, but I think it's appropriate to add in here which ones were approved.
Okay, and then the other one, I should have said something the last meeting, but on the 4th page, about halfway down, the item was the Ojai Valley Trail Point of Historical Interest plaques, and I think that name should be changed. I'm not sure how that name got going, but it should be the Ojai Railroad Heritage Trail, because points of historical interest are actual designations by the city, and we don't want to confuse people. And plaques also tend to mean that this plaque is going to go on their building or something, and we don't want to give that impression. So just maybe interpretive signage.
Can you direct me to where you are on
it's
page 4?
page 6 of 7 on item number 7.
Oh, I thought we were on page 4.
Where it says Ojai Valley Trail Point of Historical Interest plaques.
Okay, go ahead and write on your sheet there and hand it to me at the end of the meeting, or because I'm looking for exactly where you want me to write this, and I'm not
Where
finding
it
it.
says Ojai Valley Trail
So
Point.
where are you on this, are you on number 7?
Number 7, on pages 6 of 7.
I'm on number 7, page of 6 of 7. Where would you like me to change the language?
It's the title.
Where it
Okay.
says number 7, just change the title
To,
to Ojai Railroad Heritage Trail Interpretive Signage. And then that should be changed on our current, well, we don't have to change it now, but on our current agenda, it's listed as that too.
This is something we voted on at the last meeting, to change the title.
Thank you, that's all.
gonna have to get on your minutes, secretary. Thank you.
Does anybody
So we'll
have any
come back
others?
with these.
Okay.
So should we still approve it, or just,
I think we should come back with it. There's quite a few changes here.
okay?
I just didn't want it to go before the council with that name. If we could get it changed before then.
If I may, commissioners, if the agenda item was actually listed as that, that might be more clear. I understand that the name has been approved to be changed moving forward, but to the extent someone's trying to correlate the minutes to the way that it was listed on the agenda item, it might be more appropriate to leave it as stated. But I'll defer to the commission on that.
Leave it as it is for this, but going forward, it'll be changed.
That's correct. Just on the minutes, because the minutes are, if somebody's looking at the agenda, comparing it to the minutes, then that's how they're going to have a discrepancy between what's listed as the item number for the agenda. So that just makes it nice and clear that we didn't deviate from the agenda at the actual meeting.
Right, because at this meeting that we're talking about, this is how it was listed. You agreed to change it going forward, so it would be, that totally makes sense. This would be confusing, so we're going to eliminate, we'll eliminate that correction.
Okay. So,
Did you have a change on the one about the logo where it says,
no, it's fine.
yeah?
Yeah, it's fine. Okay, so now we're gonna go to number 2. We're gonna table that until our next meeting. And item number 2 is the annual 2025 Historic Preservation Award and Lifetime Achievement Award. Can we have a staff report?
So on August 14th, the last commission meeting, the commission discussed the nominees and selected the nominees that are listed here on this page of your staff report, and to be recipients of the annual Historic Preservation Award and also the Historic Preservation Lifetime Achievement Award, and directed staff to come back with a resolution for the commission to adopt. And that resolution is included here as attachment A in your packet, along with the recipient biographies. And with the approval of the resolution, the commission's recommendation will then be forwarded to the city council for ratification, and the award will be presented at a later city council meeting.
I'll move that we approve.
I'll second it.
I'm sorry, what action are we taking place?
The ones that we voted on last time, Steve Adams, the Playhouse, and then the Gables, we're approving that,
We're approving the resolution.
the resolution.
Okay, well, Chair, actually, I have some action that I'd like to take place on this item, and I don't know when an appropriate time to take that action is.
Okay, is this what you and I have discussed?
Could be.
Okay, because I was.
Yeah, I haven't discussed
I
this
was
in
thinking,
depth with you.
I was thinking that that should be separate, because if it's not going to be titled the exact same thing, if we're going to look at maybe something a little bit more unique and personal to that particular property, then maybe we should approve it to go on the next agenda, and then,
The next agenda in the next month?
yeah.
No, I'm not prepared to do that.
I think we need to if it's not on the
Sounds
agenda.
like 3 of you know what you're talking about.
Well,
So,
no, it's
Well,
not.
do you know
I think
two?
we're all guessing. I
So,
think you can kind of
actually-
I don't
guess.
know, I think you need to take action on this
I would,
agenda item.
I would like to make a motion.
So we had a motion, did we have a second for that motion?
Yes.
Okay, and so now we're gonna so now you have another motion?
I do. I came with a motion, and so my motion is to open this up and revisit again the award of a annual award to the El Roblar based on information that was misrepresented at the last meeting and not presented in that meeting. And so for us to then again revisit the inclusion of El Roblar in the annual preservation award.
Okay,
That's
a
my
motion?
motion.
Okay,
I
discussion?
call a point of order because it's not on the agenda to vote for that. And I think that introduces a new subject that there might be people from the public that would want to come and talk on, because we already voted specifically.
Yeah.
So actually, what you would be doing is if it was seconded to, what it would be to stop this resolution from moving forward. And at the next, and if we had two people wanted to do that, to be able to discuss and include El Roblar, then you can halt the agenda, the resolution tonight, and put the entire item, the resolution and inclusive, and a discussion as whether or not to include El Roblar at the next meeting. That's one option.
Okay.
The other option is to move forward with this resolution as it is, and then at another time during the meeting, see if there are two people that would like to have El Roblar put on the next meeting. Either way, El Roblar goes on the next meeting. So you can either let this resolution go forward, or you can table this resolution.
Yeah, I mean,
And so with that information, now you can discuss it among yourselves as to, we
Okay.
have a first motion and second, and now we have a second motion and second. So we can discuss and take a vote on the second motion and second.
I think that it's important that this is done. It's all nice and pretty. We all agreed on it. We all voted on it, that we just move forward with it. I also think that the El Roblar needs to be brought back at the next meeting. The problem, it's gotten to be very evident from looking at the last meeting and looking at this meeting and knowing that Laurel and I are the ones who put together the package for the El Roblar, that we are in favor of it. I mean, you can say that because that's what we worked on. We worked it on together. Brian voted for it. That's 3. Craig would be the one that didn't. He voted against it last time. The 2 people who also voted against it last time are not here tonight. So it's kind of like it's setting it up wrong. I feel like the only way to do it honestly is to go through, agree on this, and have it go forward, and then bring the El Roblar back next month when it's all of us, so we can bring new information and go forward.
No matter what, if there are 2 of you here tonight that want El Roblar to be on an agenda, it's going to go on an agenda. Even if the other 2 members were here, it only takes 2 to get an item on an agenda.
Okay.
So you have, again, we have a motion and a second to move forward with this resolution as it is and bring El Roblar back at the next meeting. Then we have a second motion and second to halt this item tonight, table it until the next meeting, and also discuss El Roblar at the next meeting. So
It has the same outcome.
Not necessarily.
So I'm going to step back. I'm just letting you know what the procedure is. And so the item to discuss, or the motion and the second to discuss right now, is the last motion and second.
Thank you.
And so if you want to continue discussing it, and then, or you're done and take a vote, and then, go ahead.
So what are we voting on again?
You're
Okay.
voting.
So we're
Brian?
voting on the second motion.
So the second motion, if I could repeat it, is to table the current resolution and to put it along with a discussion to include El Roblar as with an award. Put that at the next meeting versus, I won't even say what the versus is. That was the motion and the second.
That is the motion, and the reason I made that motion is after the agenda came to us, and I noted that this was a discussion item, I pulsed Mara and said, with this being a discussion item, is it possible for us to discuss this item and to actually take action on that discussion? And she assured me, what I mean is when you make a motion and you get a second, then there will be a vote. If it is voted to add El Roblar, then the item will come back at October meeting. So she's telling me now that actually it will come back to the October meeting. And I look forward to that. There was information that was presented last week, a comment, an observation that was non-defined and non-understood. The word reimagination, which I actually never heard in the almost 12 years that I've been on the historic preservation. However, I went through and looked at the article that Commissioner Walker had referenced in the meeting before and saw that that word was in there. Perhaps that's where it was picked up and shared by Commissioner Walker, also shared by Commissioner Sims at that time. I have since that time gone over and taken a tour of the El Roblar. This is part of my, and had conversations or exchange of text and with Ramin, and conversations with Daniel, who was assigned to me to give a tour yesterday. So I have been there. I have seen, I had not been in the facility other than the Chicago that took place there for the community meeting. So I think it's important, and I would like to, whether it be this meeting or the future meeting, is to talk about just exactly what reimagination is and what interpretation is, because last week there were a couple things that were said. Basically, it was that they looked at one part of the building and the rest of it was just left to the reimagination. And if you go through the article that's here in the Ojai Quarterly, highlighted and underlined, you'll see that that actually wasn't the case. Also, there is a section or a line item within our code that says that interpretation is one of the qualifying events for moving forward to a landmark. This article here talks about reimagination and interpretation and working together to make a stronger proposal. So I would like to, again, I feel strongly about the El Roblar. They, if you read through the information that's in the Ojai Quarterly, and look at the efforts, the focus, the intent, the qualifications of the four people that are in there, it is clear that this was not something that they did not care about. I know that there was a question about obeying the Secretary of the Interior standards, that those weren't adhered to. However, there wasn't an indication of which of the Secretary of the Interior standards they weren't obeying. The question to me was, are we talking about the pergola, or rather the overhang that was brought to the HPC and was discussed and debated and voted on to go forward with the balconies and the top on a 4-to-1 vote, and if that's what's not in adherence to the Secretary of State standards, that's the indication that we gave them to go ahead, and that is actually included in one of the quotes that are in here. The taking a tour, walking through it, it was reassuring. And the other thing that, and I'm not meaning to downplay any of the other people that we proposed, because I voted for all the other people. But, I look at all of the work that took place in putting the Roblar together, all of the interpretation work they did to understand all of the historic bases to the plans that they had for the lobby, but not for the where the dining hall is. They adhered to those religiously. Talked about that in this magazine. They've made that known in other places. But reimagination to me is exactly what the Ojai Theater Playhouse has done. They have, we worked with them in getting the facade that they have. I still don't know whether we approved the bank of windows that are there on the front. And then the inside of that theater, I haven't been there, but I've talked to several people, is not anything of any kind of recreation, or it truly is what I would think of being a reimagination. And I know in talking with David Berger when he first came to Ojai, and I sat down with him and others, that's exactly what he was doing. He was trying to reimagine what he would do with that space and how it would turn out. So The one thing I would suggest that maybe might short circuit this going forward is to for the four of us to agree to that the El Roblar is worthy of, with all of the work they did, is worthy of receiving a annual historic award. Again, I walked all through the properties. I've been watching that property for all these years. Yeah, just one more minute, Chair. I'll finish up.
Good.
So I've looked at the buildings. The front building, what I call the box, was thoroughly, it was stripped down on the west end, stripped down to the studs and replaced and restored. All of that area, if you go to the bungalows that are in the back, we had toured those before any work took place. They are beautiful. They have been approved. They're wonderful. I have a whole list of items that I made just this afternoon on the different places that I looked that have been restored and brought to the beauty that they are now. Talking about the doors, when you walk through those front doors, instead of, again, not to denigrate David in the Playhouse Theater, it's a completely different industry. But when you walk through the doors on the El Roblar, you're walking through the original doors. When you walk on the tile, you're walking on the original tile.
So,
So-
can I'd like to add, I respect Craig Walker endlessly, but we will disagree on this to the end of time, and that's how it all works. We all disagree on things once in a while, but if you look at the history of this building and you look at previous HPCs and what they have approved that were questionable, and even ones that the last one with the Oaks, I mean, it was thought of as the premier group of people with Rose Boggs. I think David Mason was on there. Yet these were approved that didn't take it back to its original look. It has been interpreted by different stewards over time. When it was brought to us, and we had to look at two different fronts. We had to look at the front that was had the the one that had the arcade that we decided upon, that we all voted on. That was what the HPC did. That is what went forward. That is what they did. To me, it's the equivalent of saying, well, we want you to paint the front of this building this exact color blue, and then they do it, and then we punish them for it. We gave them the okay as an HPC, as a group. We discussed it. We heard from their people, all spoke at different times to us. We decided as a group, and right or wrong, that is the decision that we made. So saying that is what's holding them back from getting an award that we're giving them, that we voted on telling them what to do and they did it, just seems a little crazy to me. So I don't understand. I feel like there's room for the El Roblar in our yearly awards. I will say, though, that it is going to be that's why I was saying maybe it's a slightly different version of an award, because when we are back next month, it's going to be a 3-3. It just is, and it's going to fail. So that's why I was saying maybe we can think of a different, has a little wording that's different, just so we can move forward. Knowing that we may have to word it slightly differently to get past our 3-3 deadlock, I would like to get this done. So, because this is the standard tradition, I mean, we all voted on it, or whoever was here last month, and then bring it to the 6 of us next month in a way that hopefully that you can work on it between now and then, that you can present it in a way that may hopefully break that deadlock.
Yeah, just something real quick, and this was pointed out to me, the sensitivity.
What?
I'm answering her question. She was
I know,
looking
but
at me.
you've talked for like 5 minutes and
I just,
I haven't had
I-
a
I'm,
chance.
I'm sorry,
I just want him to.
Commissioner, but
just-
I spoke with
I just asked him if he
approval.
could do that, if he could get a new information for our next meeting.
Okay.
And he was
Now
just
I'm
gonna,
answering that question. Otherwise, the time that I
I
spoke
will
was given.
respect the chair.
sorry.
Thank you. So again, going back to one thing real quick, before I came over here, I raced over and went through the dining area, and then I went out to the far eastern end because as Ramin, Mr. Shamshiri had shared to me, he said that is where the pergola is. And I went out there to the dining area, that's on the far end. They put the pergolas in there with slats going across. It's beautiful. Mark Whitman, who happened to be there with his wife, gives it a thumbs up. Randy Levitt, who happened to be with his wife, gives it a thumbs up. So again, as I said at the beginning of this, I would like to move towards the four of us agreeing and going into next week's meeting that we are, well, the four that are here.
No, I meant next month. You said
Oh.
week. I just.
Oh, sorry, yes, thank goodness, I got a month. That we're willing to
Okay,
convey an annual award to El Roblar.
thank you. Commissioner Walker?
Well, yes, you said that they did what you asked them to do, but I don't think that's entirely correct because there were two options that were given to them, one that fulfilled the standards and one that didn't meet the standards. And they chose to go with the one that didn't meet the standards. And that's their choice because, as was pointed out, it didn't bring it down below the level that would make it still eligible as a contributor to the historic district. But they chose on their own to select that design that they had. And the consultant that they hired, it was their consultant, came back with a report. And on standard number 3, the consultant said, the project's design does not comply with standard number 3. Although the design would remove the 2003-2004 Mission Revival Porte Cochere, a design element that has created a false sense of historical development, the design option would retain the incompatible arched entrance arcade. So this was from their own consultant. Standard number 9, the proposed arcade extension is incompatible with the original rustic Spanish colonial revival design aesthetic of this building, which never included an arcade or arches of any kind on the south facade. For this reason, design option 1 does not comply with standard number 9. Summary. As described above, the design which is being considered for the south facade under the project does not comply with the Secretary of the Interior standards, specifically standards number 3 and 9, because of its extension of the arched entry arcade, an incompatible stylized design element that creates a false sense of historical development. And I just want to remind you that at the meeting, I expressed my support for what these people are doing with that hotel. They're keeping it open. They're running it as some kind of a historic representation, but they make it clear that, and not just in this article, that their intention is to reimagine the hotel as they would imagine it would be at that particular time. And I think I felt, and some of the other commissioners felt, that if it was going to be given an award, it should follow the standards. And because our ordinance says that it's up to us as the commission to make sure that the standards are followed. And if we don't have that as the standard we use, if we just brush those aside, then I think we're giving up whatever we have to try to keep these buildings in their original shape. So again, I love the hotel. I've been there to eat. I wrote a really nice review of it on Facebook, and I really support what they're doing, and I hope they're very successful. I just don't think it's appropriate for a historic preservation award. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to reiterate that we were presented with two options. They did not tell us that they were only going to do this, and if we decided on the other one, that they would have come back and tried to appeal it. They gave us both options and went through the reasons why. And as a commission, we picked the one that they used. We gave them, before it started, we gave them our blessing and said, this is the one that we vote on. So whether, we could have made a mistake, but that's here nor there. That's what we did as a commission. So when we tell an applicant, this is what we vote on and this is what we agree on, and then they go and they do that, it wasn't that they went and just did it on their own. They did it with the commission who, at that time, blessing of what we suggested to them and why. And it had everything to do with doing making sure there was global warming, there was the heat of the building, there was trying to, make sure that it was comfortable for different temperatures between now and 100 years ago, and just talking about making it a successful building and still having that feeling of the history of it and have it come through. We voted on it, and that's how we voted. So I just feel that, just like they voted for that Port Cochere thing, that was not historic, that was not something that was in any drawings anywhere they did that. That was, looking back at that decision, I think it was kind of a strange decision. Going back even further to the 1960s version, when it looked like the motel with the, that was building that whole front on it, that also wasn't historic. But these decisions that are made by bodies of people that change and situations change, climate changes, all these things, I just feel that it wasn't something that was willy-nilly that they just went off and did. It was with conversations and meetings with the HPC. And then, so that in our, if you look at who has gotten yearly awards over the years, it's pretty low bar. And I just think there's room in there for the El Roblar. Do you like to say anything?
Well, I think
Is your mic on?
thank you. I think we should go with your suggestion of approving these people and then moving forward with a very, very in-depth and detailed, maybe we need to show slides, talk more about the El Roblar. I think it's a spectacular piece of renovation work, and but that's what I think we should do tonight, is get rid of this and then put on the agenda for October a discussion about El Roblar. We could make another type of award, like rethink that, because I agree with you, it's gonna be 3-3, and they're gonna get nothing. So
are you taking back your second?
I thought that's what we were gonna do at the beginning, but after hearing what, because I was not.
No, I just wanted to make,
I'm taking it back.
Okay.
So
we don't have, Commissioner Akins, we no longer have a second to your motion.
That's okay, though. I think that's, we're getting at the same
So,
place.
but that won't eliminate discussing this item at the next meeting, correct?
No.
No, not at all.
Oh, just making
No, because
sure.
if we go back to the first motion and second, it's just to move forward with this recommended resolution this evening. And then as long as we again discuss, and we have two members this evening that want to put El Roblar as a discussion item to potentially receive an award on the next agenda, then it will be on the next agenda.
Okay,
So since we have removed the second, and Adam, step in if you need to, then we will go back to the initial vote, or the initial motion and second. And if there needs to be discussion, go ahead. Otherwise, take a vote on the initial,
Which is just
initial motion from
approving this.
from Commissioner Walker, and second by Chair McHatton, to move forward with this resolution. And then
that resolution, which does not include a Roblar in it.
that's correct.
Correct.
And then and it's going to be a separate, completely separate issue. to
This is
then
a
bring
trust
up.
me kind of thing.
No, I mean,
They're
There's-
two separate, they're
It
two
is.
separate issues.
I understand.
And so
I
If you,
understand.
if there's another person here tonight on the commission that wants to hear El Roblar at the next meeting, then that will be on the agenda.
You have 3 commissioners that want to hear the El Roblar at the next meeting, so it will be on the agenda.
Okay. So,
So we have a motion and a second. Oh, go ahead.
So again, all I'm asking for, and it appears to be a single commissioner, is that we end this and move forward this by recognizing what the El Roblar has done, all of what they have done, all of the work that they have done in preservation and in interpretation, and that they are worthy of receiving an annual Historic Preservation Award. And I compare that against the other award that we talked about just before we talked about this group, and that would be the theater. It seems to me as though we're holding the El Roblar, because of a choice they made a number of years ago, at a much higher standard than we're holding the place just across the street, the theater.
So,
And
Chair?
I think there should be a fairness.
please, Chair.
Yes, I'm sorry, just,
Well, if we can have a point of order, and are you going to take a vote on your
I-
first motion and second? And
I think that I don't want to start a situation for future items where it's based on who's here. If we go and vote, clearly we will get a vote to get the El Roblar on. But that's taking the voice away and the vote away from Rick and Loran. And that is something I don't want to do. I don't think that's right.
putting that on the next agenda is not taking
Right, but I'm
anybody's
saying
vote
if
away,
we do
because
it-
it only takes 2 members to do that.
Right, but I'm saying the way that Commissioner Akins wanted to do it was to vote on it now on this one. That, I don't feel
Well, it
comfortable with
can't
that.
be voted on now, but
Okay.
what he wanted, what Commissioner Akins
I
wanted
can
to,
make a motion.
wanted to vote on was to table this resolution tonight and put it on the next agenda along with a discussion about El Roblar. But that item has been taken off the table now because he lost his second.
Okay.
We have to go back to the first motion and second now. And if you need to discuss that further, fine. Otherwise, please take a vote. And the
Okay.
motion was to move forward with this resolution as it is, recommending approval of this resolution to the council. And we got a motion and a second. Can you please take a vote?
Can I add a friendly addition to Commissioner Walker's? Concerns? Yeah, and that would be that we brought the El Roblar back in October.
That's not on the agenda this
Okay.
evening. That's a separate issue that we need
I
to
mean, I
have
just
a
wasn't
discussion
sure.
of. You need to we need to finish this.
Okay.
And then, whether it's during commissioner comments, as a commissioner, which is probably going to be Commissioner Akins, brings it up that he would like to have the El Roblar come back at the next meeting to discuss a potential award, and that you're going to do some research, such and such. And then if you get a second to that, we don't need to take a vote. You've got a 1 and a 2, and it's on the next agenda.
Great.
Okay.
Can we have a vote then?
So, a thought too. So, what I've seen we've just did is that at our last meeting, Commissioner Laurel was not given a chance to vote, not instructed on how to register her vote at the meeting that took place. So her vote was not counted.
I'm
or
sorry,
included.
Commissioner Akins, I'm not sure what happened at the last meeting. Was she here at the meeting? She couldn't vote then.
Well, we have 2 people who aren't here now.
And there's
and
nothing for them to vote on this evening. They're not getting a vote or not, they're not here, they're not voting on
Can
anything.
we take a roll
Can
call?
you please take a roll call?
Yes. Roll call, please.
McHatton,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Akins.
No.
Okay.
Although again, that no vote is couched because we could have resolved this tonight.
So,
Okay, so now we're on item number 4, which is the Ojai Day celebration and the plaque.
item number 3,
You're wrong, correct.
Item number 3. Can we have a staff report, please?
So at this September 11th meeting, the HPC may wish to discuss topics that are related to Ojai Day and also, well, added to that day, well, the day before, the California State Downtown Ojai Historic District Celebration. What is included in your staff report here are the two things that have been discussed in the past as to what to do around this Ojai Day celebration. Number one are some details that staff has come up with for October 17th, the evening before Ojai Day, and that would be for the plaque unveiling. And I brought the plaque in at the last meeting, and I think it was the last meeting. And then number two is the Ojai Day, actual Ojai Day celebration. And so I've listed potential discussion topics, but it's really, these are your events. And so these are just ideas that you can either take or leave and then add your own ideas. What staff included here is that the HPC needs to, we feel that you need to determine the time of the unveiling. We know that it's on the 17th, but what is the timing? Then staff will schedule Public Works for installation, obviously before your unveiling time. The HPC should create a list for people you want to invite. Will there be a speech? Or, some words, and who will that be? Who will do that? Staff is prepared to be responsible for social media outreach, also a press release, and then here on page 1 of 2, the last item is post-unveiling celebration. I just wasn't sure if you wanted to have some little something after the actual unveiling at the, in photos, or would you want to retreat to, the museum or something? I don't know. I was just kind of in my head with that. And then on Ojai Day, there is the application for a booth, and staff took care of that. There's then there's a schedule for all of the commissioners, time and location for the setup, the takedown, and the event posts. Where are you going to be and when? And then there are fans for the heat that are stored in the jail, and there are also banners that I know Chair McHatton was in charge of with the museum. And with all that, I'm just going to throw it on back to you. Thank you.
Okay, so at the last meeting, Rick and Loran knew that they weren't going to be at this one, and they said to put us wherever you need us. So I came up with a schedule. One thing, Loran would prefer not to be at the jail, and I thought that Brian should maybe have 2 shifts at the jail because, you have Richard Sennett, and you're kind of in charge of that. So if you did, this could be changed, but the way I did it was we're moving around because I think that we're going to get tired of being in one spot for too long. So the morning starts out with me and Brian at the jail, Craig and Loran at the museum, and Rick and Laurel at the booth. Then in the second shift is Loran and myself at the booth, Craig and Rick at the jail, and Laurel and Brian at the museum. And then the end of the day, it's the museum with me and Rick, and Craig and Loran at the booth, and Brian and Laurel at the jail.
I'd like to suggest that you add in the setup and takedown, people and times, and also all of the very specific hours to all of those things, all
Yeah.
those items you just mentioned.
Exactly, because there have to be a little bit of overlap, but there's 2 people at each one of these things, so each one of these things can be done with one person. So if something happened where you're trying to get there, and so I figured it could be a little staggered. But that's the reason I had Brian at the jail in the morning and in the evening for shutdown, because he usually has the stuff with him. And then Craig and to do the shutdown of the booth, and Rick to do the setup of the booth. So I think those are the things that actually have physical stuff, right? And I was thinking that the museum doesn't really need us, but I think it would be nice to have us there so we can answer questions, and we could be a part of that as well. But anyway, if anybody has any questions or something that you'd rather do instead of this, let me know. Does anyone?
Just an update. So I've been in the jail. There are 3-4 boxes in there that have 400 fans there in the corner. There was a big paint chip that fell off below the plaque that's over there. Yeah, I reported that since has been repainted, and I went back over to Public Works to talk to Lindy, but she was away from the office, talked to the other assistant, so they're going to continue. It's fairly clean in there, but they just need to get in and get rid of of all the cobwebs that are all over the place.
Regarding the booth, where's,
Microphone.
regarding the booth, where is the, all that stuff?
So the booth is going to have our pamphlets. It'll have,
Right, but like the structure, does somebody, where, need to
does
maybe?
it comes with a table and a pop-up or
We
not?
need to
So,
do like a trial run, because I've seen these
Yeah.
things be a
Right.
catastrophe.
So I forwarded all of the information only to the chair, and the information includes that you're responsible for your own tables, chairs, and cover. The city doesn't provide those things. And you set up the time, sorry?
They're not providing that anymore?
My understanding is that that's not provided.
Well, I always bring my stuff anyway because sometimes it shows up, the city shows up, and sometimes it doesn't. But
Okay.
I didn't know that they weren't
My
providing.
understanding from the person who coordinates the event is that
I talked
those
to her
items
yesterday.
are not provided. And so
Okay,
you're responsible for bringing them and setting up. And again, for people who haven't done this with the HPC, you're going to need, please include all the very specific times for everybody.
Okay.
When are you showing up? When is setup? When does the event start? You got to set up before the event, and then there's the overlap. So maybe you have 2 hours or 1 hour. I mean, I'm not sure. But in the past, I just know that I've always sat here and written down the times and the locations and the people. And so maybe we can put this on the next agenda and bring it back that way and make sure it's real specific.
Okay.
And I do recall last year, Commissioner Basasha bringing a table maybe, or chairs, or just being there to set up?
Yeah, he was there to set up in
Okay.
the morning, so.
So Commissioner Akins, you have been here the longest.
Go figure.
Your experience has been, have you ever had a booth, or you just set up down at the jail? Because
We
this year.
just set up down at the jail.
Okay, so this year it's a booth and the jail.
What's the booth?
The
The
HPC
jail,
wants
is
a,
it-
no. The
They want a booth
HPC
at
wants a booth.
12:10.
But
We
they were
don't-
gonna do a booth next to the museum up in
That's what
the,
I was just saying that.
oh, okay,
The
sorry.
years past, I just asked you, years past, have you had a booth? And you said, no, it's just been the
Oh,
jail. So this year, the HPC wants a booth, and they want the booth to be next to the museum booth.
Okay,
So I'm trying to help facilitate that. And my understanding is for this booth, you
Mm-hmm.
have to bring your own table, your own canopy, and your own chairs.
really?
Okay.
So,
Who owns the canopy? I mean, we don't have any
right,
of this
that's,
stuff.
well, maybe
I
one
can,
of you
I
does.
can get all
I
that
do
stuff
be-
from.
I do, and that's why I bring the
But you
the
bring-
items.
but you
I
bring
Do you have
yours.
enough for both?
No, you bring yours to the jail
Yeah,
unless
I
you
bring
have.
mine to the jail.
Okay.
Sorry, I thought you were saying we had a booth set up at the jail too.
There's a jail site, there's a booth site, there's a museum site.
Yeah, we don't need to worry about the museum.
Right. We don't need to worry about the jail, but we do need to worry about the booth that's on the street, right?
Do we know if it's going to be in the park or on the street?
My understanding is that it's on the street.
Okay.
But again, I've been to one Ojai Day, and I'm also,
What?
I'm not the facilitator,
Are you going to this year?
of course.
Okay, good.
So do you have a tent?
I can get everything, yeah.
Yeah, it's just a quick up.
Actually, maybe I've been to 2.
Okay.
Okay, so,
I don't work them. That's your thing.
yeah. So I will be reaching out to our Ojai Day people to talk about what we're gonna have at the booth and what we can showcase. Okay, and we'll work on that, and I wanted to, this was like a little puzzle, because you'd move one person and then all of a sudden there's too many people here and there's not enough coverage here. So I wanted to get this kind of down, get everybody to sign off on it, and then I'll sit and work on the exact times and all that.
Okay, don't hesitate reaching out to me to help facilitate
Perfect.
whatever you need.
Okay,
So one other important point on that is, again, Richard Sennett will be there at 11 o'clock and at 2 o'clock. So I want to be there for those 2 times.
and I went with Craig on Tuesday, I think it was, with working with Roger at the museum, finishing up the banners. And we're just waiting on some pictures from previous Commissioner Cindy Convery's daughter, Elizabeth, who did that jail event. She had taken some high-res pictures of the graffiti, and so we're waiting on those. She said she was going to send them over this week, and then we'll get those to Roger, and hopefully that will wrap that one up.
So I would take note of the times that Commissioner Akins would like to be available for Richard Sennett. So you mentioned specific times, so those should go on the list of times that Chair is creating.
Yeah, basically I'll be there all day. So
Okay.
I have you in the museum in the middle, just because you're the museum guy, and I
Mhm.
figured you can always walk over in your outfit over there while you have it covered with Craig and Rick. But, like I said, we don't
Yeah,
have
nope,
to be
that's
at the
fine.
museum, but I figured maybe you'd want to go over and check it out and,
sure.
okay. That's it.
And then, so this is all about Ojai Day. However, number 1 of this was about the plaque unveiling. Is that something that you want to think about and come back with next week, as far as who you're inviting and what time the unveiling is going to be? And is there a post-unveiling event?
I mean, it would be most logical to have the staff or whoever from the city come up after you guys get off work, so,
Well, staff is just, I mean, if you're talking about me and the director
Ben
and the
and
city manager.
this and you, then, whoever wants to come up, it would be after work, because then it would, quiet down on the avenue to get everybody kind of going.
I was thinking that you're probably, I mean, I'm projecting here, and again, it's your event, but I was thinking that you might want to invite other commissions, certainly the city council.
Right.
You want
That's
to
why I was thinking
invite the person.
after work hours, because I can't assume that people don't have day jobs.
Right, okay, so you're just talking about the time now, you're not talking about your attendees.
Right,
Okay, or your invitees.
right. That's what, it just seemed logical to do it.
So that's a good time.
In the
but
evening.
again, there's
But not
who are
dark.
you inviting and who's going to talk and
So,
trying to help
and
you
it's
organize.
before time changes. Time changes 2 weeks after that, so we should have enough light. You don't want to do it in the dark. And you don't want to do it if it happens to be 100 degrees out. So some sweet spot right there in the dinner hour kind of time. Does that make sense?
Anytime makes sense. I mean, I do think that 5:30 probably makes sense because, again, I don't know who you're inviting, but do any of you work?
I'm retired.
I'm the only one here who works.
Lots, but for free.
So anyway, pick the time and, if I can help you out with who you're inviting, you just let us know.
Thank you. And then what about Public Works? Do they know that it weighs a ton? Are they prepared?
Yes, they are on schedule to have this installed.
Okay, not going to take down the whole arcade? Just nothing.
Well, they could put it up anytime, right? Because it's
Yeah,
just a
just cover it.
dedication on that day.
Yeah, it'd be nice to just have it that day, though, because then it
It'd be
would.
nice to know in advance whether it was gonna go up.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll put it up and then they'll put a cover over it, so we can do an unveiling.
Yeah, that's what they
Whenever
did
we choose.
with the the jail, we
Yeah.
covered it, yeah.
I assume that the covering would just be a little.
Then paper, butcher
Right, but also
paper.
it wouldn't be days before, it would just be right before, because otherwise it'll just be taken down. Yeah, someone else will come and pull it down.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, so I think we're done with, it's gonna be a lot of just communication. If it's more than the three of us, then we'll have it go through you.
Okay.
Right, again, who's coming and who's talking and all that. So I'm gonna step back. I feel like I
Okay.
keep trying to push, but I
No,
can figure it out.
Do you see this being just an email, or are you talking like an invitation? A digital invitation? Like, what is,
I think if it's I was thinking that it would probably be electronic. I mean, this, again, I don't want to do this, I don't want it to be my idea because it's yours, or all of yours. But I do see something more than just an email. I mean, not that it can't be digital.
okay,
You know, it should be pretty. It should be nice. It's a
All
big
right.
deal.
yeah.
So we should make it look like a big deal.
Anybody have any other comments? Because once we leave here, then we have to talk through more, so, is there anything? Okay. All right, let's go on to item number 4,
So
which
item
is
number
the, well, right now, it is the Ojai Valley Trail Point of Interest, Point of Historical Interest plaques.
No, we changed it a few minutes ago.
Right, but I'm saying right now
Oh, I
on
see.
this, so,
Right, so, well, this title will be changed. So this is an opportunity for the commission to review and further discuss the points of interest. I guess they're not called points of interest, though.
Yeah, interpretive signage,
Interpretive, okay,
the
um,
Ojai Railroad Heritage Trail.
right, along the Ojai
Interpretive
Heritage.
signage.
Okay. Attachment A,
Yes, it's got a couple of additions on it.
yes, and page 6 of 6 has a
Page
very
6 of
nice
6.
mock-up.
I was asked at the last meeting if we could get a sketch of what it might look at, so I talked to Colleen McDougall, and she agreed to do a sketch, but she came up with this elaborate, elaborate painting of what one of them might look like. I think we'd probably be more in favor of having a variety of pictures and orientations, more like the sample that's earlier in the packet. But I think this was mostly to show how it might look overall, and then how we might put the names of the sponsors and the city down at the bottom. And so my main thing is just trying to figure out what else we need before we take this before the council. One of the things we'll be asking them for, I suppose, would be if we need to get their permission, or if we have their permission to use the city seal on these. Is that correct? They should tell us whether that's allowed.
I think that's something that we'll find out through the process of taking this to them.
Okay. And then the other was if they're approved having sponsors,
That'll
if-
also go through, right.
if the sponsor can, that's what I'm trying to come up with. What are the things we want to ask them for? And one would be use of the city's logo, whether we could use a logo for a sponsor, if we could have sponsors, hopefully. And whether we could get the assistance of the Public Works to help us to get them positioned in the right spot, so we're not on some neighbor's property, or that it's all done according to regulations, I guess. It does involve the county, because we do have to get that encroachment permit from them, so it might just involve going for the first 4 and seeing where we have them planned to put them, and see if that meets the city's approval, and then make out the encroachment permit and see if the county approves it.
I want to add that I think when it comes time to preparing the staff report, for staff, to prepare the staff report to go to the city council, that we'll probably touch base and just kind of get some feedback, probably from Commissioner Walker, when I'm writing the staff report.
What's that?
Just, I think when I'm writing the staff report, I'll be reaching out to you.
That'd be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, in the previous staff reports, I gave you all a tentative date for, a tentative hearing, date for this item to go to city council, and that was September 28th. And I believe that has been moved to perhaps the first meeting in November.
Of what?
November, first meeting of
Oh,
November.
first meeting in November.
Right.
So I just wanted to say that I think this is really cool. I really like it.
Yeah.
I love the pictures. I'm not as much of a reader as a picture looker, especially with these things, but I think it's really great. I think it's gonna be
Yeah.
very well received.
Well, I think that's part of it is, it has different layers. If you just want to know what you're looking at, and then if you want to learn more about it, if you want to, just look at the picture, like there's so much that you can get out of these. I know I was thinking about it today, about when you're walking, like with your family, and you have kids in strollers or on bikes and they need a rest. It's so nice that you have these, because when you start learning more about where you live and you start learning about you take ownership in a different way when you start understanding what that you're looking at. So
But
that's
the key, I suppose, is not to make it too wordy. I mean, we want to make it with enough information that will engage the viewer as they walk by, but I think you can only count on their attention for maybe a minute or two, so you don't want to overload it with text, but you want enough to draw them in, and maybe we could have a Q code or something that would take them on their phone to the museum website that would have more information about it.
So, Chair, don't forget to open up public comments.
we have a public comment, so I'm going to open up public comments. Mr. Schaefer?
Hello, Stephen Schaefer. Sorry about that. Stephen Schaefer, San Buenaventura Conservancy for Preservation. Keep in mind, as you flesh this out, the Conservancy would love to help you out, work with you on this, partner with you on this. I was talking with Dylan Murray from the county, who is, oversees his heritage preservation at the county and is the staff person for the county of Ventura, the Cultural Heritage Board, and he's, excited about what's happening in the next phase, sort of just outside of Ojai. And then also keep in mind that from a Native American perspective, they don't necessarily look at things as properties. So the wording of sites is good. I know the National Register of Historic Places has sort of come down on, these are significant places, culturally important places, but avoiding the idea of landmarks and buildings and properties when you're talking about opening this up to having a lot of different cultural pieces to it, which includes, paleontology and geology and all of those things too. I mean, there is the opportunity to go back to the beginning of time, and then there's the opportunity to go to Native American Chumash heritage, and then, our current world. And then, if there is a building that's not particularly, attractive, but it used to be the Masons Hall, then, those associations are important and also make really interesting pieces of that puzzle. And will mean more to somebody who was in the Knights of Columbus or the Masons or something like that. Just a mention, right? It doesn't have to be really, really complex. So I think it's a great project, and congratulations. So.
Thank you. Yes, and some of them will be talking about an actual landmark, like the one up on the trail that will refer to the jail. And then some will be, will include Native American because it has to do with the marriage tree that's there by Libby Bowl that was the remnant from the Chumash culture. So we'll talk about that. And some are just open fields, like the one that's going to be by where the depot was. That's just an open field now, but we can have the photographs like we show in here, and maybe a drawing or something that will let people imagine that depot was there and those trains were pulling in.
It's great.
The depot.
It's when you go down Fox Street, just before you, and you cross the trail there at Fox Street, you go in about 100 yards, and it's in that field between the trail and the athletic club. And that whole field there actually was the property of the Southern Pacific Railroad and was where the depot was located. There were also storage tanks for oil and gasoline and various things associated with the railroad.
Anything else?
So what would be the date of that November meeting? Do you know offhand?
It's a tentative date, and it would be...
Microphone.
Thank you. Possibly the 4th.
The 4th?
Mhm.
Okay, November 4th.
So there's a November 4th and a November 18th meeting, and I believe it's tentatively scheduled for the 4th.
Okay, thank you.
But I'll update you closer to the time.
Okay. Can close the item, go on. All right, now we're on item number 5.
Item number 5. This item is a request for proposals to update the Historic Resource Inventory Survey. So an RFP was distributed by staff on July 11th to a list of qualified architectural historians to prepare an Historic Resource Inventory Survey update. 10 historians provided proposals, which was very exciting to get that number. They've been reviewed by staff, and they're included as attachment A in your packets. The proposals include a fee estimate for the survey update ranging from $34,700 to $126,187. All of the consultants are located within the state of California. They've all worked on similar projects. And staff has narrowed the selection down to 3. GPA, who has experience working within the city of Ojai. Stantec, they have extensive work in California, including the city of Ojai. And ASM affiliates, they've got experience throughout Ventura County. That's not the only thing that staff took into account. Also, what was done was just eliminating the very high cost, the one that was the most expensive, because it was just seemed like so much more than the others. So I was just trying to narrow it down for you. However, it's your baby. You've got all 10 proposals that you had the opportunity to look at in a very short period of time, and you may need more time, I'm not sure. But you have the opportunity have had the opportunity to review them, and now you have the opportunity to discuss them and do with them what you'd like. Narrow down your choices and seek a discussion with them, or come up with one this evening, or come up with a couple to talk about again at another meeting. It's really up to you. So
Okay.
there you
So
go.
Well, first, I'd like to open up to public comment.
Unless you have questions for staff.
Steve Schaefer, San Buenaventura Conservancy. I do have photography, so I have worked for all of these firms. You really can't go wrong on any of these firms. But I will say there are some things that might not be obvious. One of them is, and I call them CRM firms, cultural resource management firms, just for short. The city is going to have these guys on speed dial after you do a successful survey with them. This is the kind of thing where these firms, if they have experience with the California State Historic Resources, California State Historic Building Code, California National Register, and those kinds of things, it makes sense that after staff and the city manager and the city council gets comfortable working with a group, and this group gets embedded into the community, creating a reconnaissance survey, that there's a high likelihood that if there's a question, they're not going to just throw out another RFP, they're going to pick up the phone and say, well, you know, how do we approach this? Do you have any recommendations for this? We checked with our consultant, and that's generally what's happened in the city of Ventura. So in the city of Ventura, GPA did the West Side survey, HRG did the downtown survey, and Historic Resources Group is doing the survey update. So they're coming back. I will say that HRG, you know, I want to actually show this. Hold on. I know I'm burning time. Sorry. This is the, you won't see this in print because we actually printed this ourselves at the Conservancy, but this is the, I think, 300 or 280 page context only of the downtown update. Included in this is a standard map. So these firms that you're going to be dealing with are going to be creating GIS maps. Most of them have a GIS department or an architecture firm. And then 523 forms. You want to make sure that, you know, anything that is found to be historic is listed on a DPR form. This is just a few of them. This is just for one little section of the survey. And the HRG survey, unfortunately, took place during COVID. So they got started and then immediately shut down. And then the whole development department at Ventura went away. And so anyway, the most important thing is not the survey and the data. It is getting the survey adopted. And that's what we didn't do correctly in Ventura. The West Side survey happened. It was not adopted just because everybody sort of said, oh, it's done. The downtown survey was never adopted. And it put us in a situation where people didn't know if it was actually an adopted citywide survey and everything went to the bird list at the county or at the state or not, and you don't want to be there. So that's 3 minutes. I'll pass these around.
Do we have anybody online?
Oops, sorry, Craig.
No.
Okay, so I'm going to close public comment.
I'd
Open it up for discussion.
just like to add, to back up what Steve, one of the things that Steve said is we have GIS maps, and they'll be within the proposals. You'll see that they're to be updated with the update. The other forms, though, that you mentioned is not part of this the survey. So anyway, it's to continue the survey the way it was done in the past.
Got it.
So,
Thank you.
Chair, could I speak?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so on Tuesday night's exceedingly exciting council meeting, I spent 4 hours going through these things. And the first one that I went to was Stantec. Stantec to me was exemplary because the three of us, yourself, Craig, and myself, went through and did all of this work on the downtown historic district, only to later find out that a historic resources report had been done by the state. It actually had been done by the people at Stantec that are listed here. So to me, that the benefit was we've already seen their work. We've seen the detail work that they provide. We felt, we were like, oh, well, we'd like to get this $40,000 survey, but the city council said no, and so we did this, and then we got a $40,000 survey for free by getting it through them. So in looking at the people that were involved, in knowing that they were the people that had already been here, were very familiar with Ojai and Ojai's ways, they were actually the firm that I thought would be most in tune with our needs. The other one that I looked at was Daniel. He is the gentleman from Pasadena. David Berger has been using him. You've probably talked to him, Craig. Again, small firm, but I just wanted to go the size. But yeah, I from our intimate exposure to Stantec and these same people, they're the people that I would recommend.
Okay, anyone else?
And one other thing, and I would recommend that Craig Walker be our HPC representative.
Yes. We did vote on that somewhere along the way, that he's the liaison. I don't know, long time ago, right? Okay.
Well, one of the things that I was looking at was how much will they work with us as the HPC, because I think we are a small community, and there's a lot of local knowledge that we can provide. And what I don't think we want is some big firm coming in from a different area and making a lot of decisions that we look at it and we go, well, that doesn't really conform to what we think are historic. So one of the things I went through, since I'll be the liaison, was how much did they want to work with us, that they want to include the HPC and the HPC's rep and the local people. And I was surprised that the Stantec, which I was really leaning towards too, because it has that Emily who did the actual report for the Downtown Historic District, but they had nothing in there whatsoever about working with the HPC. It was all just they'd have one contact at with city staff, and that they would do this work kind of independently. So I was a little concerned about that. And I did notice too but I did notice that HRG was very sensitive to that, the Historic Resources Group. They, again and again in their proposal, they talked about how they would work with the HPC and how they would ask us about famous people and about famous events, and that they would try to draw from our knowledge too. I know they're a little on the high side, and I don't know how much we could count on the council to approve a higher budget for it, but I do know that that would be true also for the Stantec, because they're over our budget as well. So we'd have to get it boosted anyway. I also felt that some of them didn't have much meat on the bones, you know, it was just the bare bones. Okay, you had a context statement that's already been done, so we're not going to even touch that. We're going to go and just do the time from 1960 to 1985 and just add that on as an addendum. And I thought that might not be as good as allowing them to take a fresh look at our history and we've really discovered a lot about the history of Ojai over the last 20 years. And I think it would be good to have the group take a look at that. I was impressed, even though it's taken them a long time because of the
COVID.
Yeah, the COVID, that they put a little more meat on the bone. They said that they would look at our report and they would bring it up to standard. I think that's important for getting it approved, is that it meet the standards for what the state and what the federal government expect in a survey, so that everything is done correctly. And it sounded to me from reading through a lot of these that maybe ours, being older, doesn't have the most current way of wording things or organizing it. So I like the fact that HRG was willing to update it a little bit, not too much, but to bring it up to standards. So anyway, it was hard because they're all really good. I mean, I really enjoyed reading all of their proposals, and I know there's a lot to be said for each one. I don't know if we'd want to do interviews with the top 3 or something, or whether we need to pick tonight, but I was kind of HRG and then maybe ASM. I like them. I thought they had a lot of good things similar to HRG going for them. But if the city says you can't go any higher on your budget, then I guess we're going with GPA, because their bid was at
Right
that
in there.
amount or close to it.
Okay.
I would like to, just real quick, you don't have to choose one tonight. And also when it comes to how much input the HPC has with the consultant that you choose, this is your project. So you get to decide how much input you're going to have.
Okay.
Not that it's not important, you know, to see what they're offering right up front. I mean, that certainly is important, but don't forget, you're in control. Okay, thank you.
So I do think it's important that Craig is our liaison. He is, you know, like I always say, wrote added to wrote the book on Ojai history, is this wealth of information. I do want to be careful with having them come back and having our fingers too in it, just because I think it's going to be a lot more powerful once it's adopted for the HPC to say, we have this outside organization that's well respected in the community, and we concur with them. And so now that there's two bodies of professionals that agree on something that's about a historic property. And so I like the idea of having them come periodically, but only having one person that's the regular contact. Because I think that if we all have our fingers in it, it's going to be like, it's not going to be as powerful once it gets adopted. So I would like to say
I
that.
just wanted to add that I wouldn't see myself as someone making their decisions for them, but just as a resource.
Right.
Just as a informational and kind of guiding them as to where they might look and that kind of thing, rather than.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then as far as I'm concerned, I live in the city. I'm a taxpayer here, and I would feel like if I'm going to go over the amount that I had asked for from the city, I need to be dazzled for it. I mean, if we have an organization that seems to hit the marks, I'd want to know what's $30,000 to $40,000 more. What does that look like and why? Like, for what we're asking, I would like to understand that more before I would think that was a good idea of taxpayer dollars to increase it. So I would like that. And the other thing that I think is most important is after all the classes that we take and you listen to people from different communities within the state of California all talking about their commissions, we are in a really amazing situation right now where we have a city manager, city staff, mayor, and all 4 council people wanting to see this done and supporting us to get this done. We cannot guarantee that in the future. So like GPA said 6 months. That was one that popped out just because it's 6 months. I would like to, if we talk to them and if we are to interview them, to see like how long it would take for them to get started. I don't want this to go all of a sudden, it's going to get adopted by an entirely different group who may not feel the same way that this group feels. And I think that we are just in a very unique situation, and I think we need to take advantage of it while we are in this situation. Anybody else? Okay. My question to you is, what is the time frame? So tonight, we're just discussing, and then we tell you what we want to do?
So ultimately, at some point, whether it's tonight or next month or whenever, you're going to guide me with your selection. And are you choosing one or several that you want? I mean, I don't think it would work with all 10, but to have some kind of an interview, have them come here or virtually or in person before you make your decision. And then once you do make a determination, we're going to take it to council with what you're doing and how much it's going to cost and get their blessing. And then staff will engage in a contract with the consultant and, we'll start up.
Okay. So I think Zoom is fine, online is fine. Would it, I think virtually is fine, doesn't have to be in person.
Yeah.
I think that it would be Craig. Could it be you as well to sit in?
Well, we could have it here at a public meeting.
Okay.
Is it possible just to have a small committee do it?
You can decide to create a small committee, and sure, I can sit in on it too.
And then bring the recommendations back at the next meeting and have the vote of the
So
commission?
I can't promise right now that we can set up a meeting before the next meeting, before the next packet goes out for the next meeting, but it doesn't sound impossible, but I don't want to promise that right now.
So is 5 out of 10 too unrealistic?
I think so.
Okay.
And what about the budget?
It's 5
How
out of
much do
10.
we have to stick to the,
I really don't know.
okay.
I'm sorry.
What is 5 out of 10?
Chair was asking if we would
There's
interview
10.
5 out of 10.
Oh, 10
So
of
if we,
the,
if we
of the
take the three
applicants.
that the city recommended, which was the ASM, the GPA, and Stantec,
Mhm.
and then we added the group, the HRG
HRG.
that Craig suggested, and then Daniel that you suggested, that's 5 out of 10. Mm-hmm.
We don't have to, because I would go with what Craig wants to, you think you would like to work with. I mean, what the city has recommended, it doesn't matter to me. I mean, say you pick 3, because you're gonna be the liaison, and then we meet up with 3, and Brian and Gina and other people here, we can make a decision after that. But I think it would be just if you made a decision on 3, whatever those 3 are. Because he says they're all great, so,
Well, what if
all
we,
10 are great.
what if
so-
we stuck with what the city suggested and then added HRG? That would be 4.
And staff was just giving you something, to start batting around. It's up, this is your project. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm concerned that Stantec is just, it's a big multinational corporation that I'm afraid that we're a small town and we won't get that attention that we want. And there won't be any guarantee that we get, what is it, Emily?
Yeah,
I mean, that's-
right, no, I
Like,
know.
it may be one of the many other people, and and on the other side of it, I think with Daniel, does he have the support, or is it just him?
That's a good question. And I had that question, and then I went to like the last 4 pages that were just filled with studies that they had done and completed, and
Yeah,
I was kind of like blown
because
away.
this is something that, like,
Yeah, I
the
think
city
he's
is
a
gonna
small
be
place.
reaching out to them and using them as a resource, like Stephen Schaefer said. So, do we want to make sure that they're not so big that we don't, we're not getting the attention we need, or so small that they don't have the resources? So,
But on your question on, so Stantec and Emily were the people that did the
right,
Caltrans report. So,
right, but can't,
Well, no, not
it was-
Stantec, it was GPA.
well, they
that-
weren't, yeah,
with-
at that time.
With her
Right.
on there. But now she's gonna be like the overseeing person, and it said this other lady was gonna be doing the actual on-the-ground
Right,
work on
right.
it.
right.
So I don't know, yeah, I mean, I was attracted to that she had been a part of it. Maybe Steve has. No. Okay, fine.
see you later. So I'm, personally, I mean, I lean toward GPA only because the city recommends them, but also because they are right at the dollar amount that we asked for. So it's a lot easier to go to the city with an approved budget amount that's already been approved. We don't have to ask for more, and that the time frame at 6 months is really good. But it doesn't mean that when you interview them, or we interview them, whoever does that, we can't ask, because all 10 people have access to the other 9. So they all know what each other said and did if they wanted to look that up. So they know that the reason why this one is $80,000 more is because they're offering to do this in-depth thing, which maybe we don't need. So maybe they can reach it down to get it close to 50. And if it is something like HRG, I know it was COVID, I know there was a lot of turnover in people, but I want to make sure that now that they're going to be done with Ventura, that are we next? Are we on the list? Is it going to, is the 5-year time frame something that happened just because of COVID, or is this going to be something that's dragged out over years? Because if we can get a company who's in budget and in time, that's that's where I want everybody else to come and meet us. Before, I would just be like, okay, it's for HRG, it's 88. That's great. I would want to know, why is it higher? What could you do less if we don't need it to bring it down? And what is exactly your time frame? And I think that's for all of them that we would want to interview. I would want to see if they could come down in price, because it might not be something that we exactly asked for. Because if you look at it, there's so much subtleties in the way what they would offer and how they would offer it, and then the time frame. It's all over the place. Some of it does it in sections, and some gives dates that have already it would definitely have to be a conversation to really see the time frame and the amount, because that's those two things are really important. Because like Steve said, all 10 are going to give us this job.
Well, like I said, they're all great, they all had something to recommend them. I like the way Maura narrowed it down to 3, and because I think that's a manageable amount to pick from. And I went through those 3 first, and I really liked the ASM, and I thought that the GPA had really made an attempt to do it. I just kind of thought from their applications that we would get more personal, more local connection with the HRG. And they've also been working on Ventura, so they probably know the Ventura Museum's archives, which are huge for Ojai down there. We don't usually think of it because we think of the Ojai, but they have a lot down there, and they probably know, how to find everything about Ojai history already. So if I had to narrow it down to 3, I think I would do the HRG, the ASM, and the GPA as the ones to call, but I'm open to any of them because they're all good. I mean, I like Daniel because I've worked with him on the theater, and we've talked a lot about that and gone over stuff, and he's very diligent and a good historian. But his staff is smaller, and it might take them longer, I don't know.
So Stantec, they didn't actually do the Caltrans. It was GPA, but it was Emily, and Emily's with Stantec.
Right.
But Emily wouldn't be doing the project, she would be doing the overseeing of the project.
Right.
Yeah. So, does anybody want to make a motion about maybe 3 or 4, or how many, or?
If somebody has one they really want to add, I'll be happy to interview them with.
How about, I'll try a motion. I would like to see a committee of 2 commissioners to meet virtually with Maura, with the 3 that the city suggested, and adding HRG.
So that would include Stantec in it?
Stantec, yeah, the
Oh.
3 that the city suggested, just because Emily's in there. So I'd like to, I think that kind of piques your interest because of,
No, I mean, there's a lot to recommend it.
and it is less. It kind of meets the we have the 88 and the 86, and then Stantec is 76, and then GPA is 50. So it does bring it down a bit. So maybe Stantec could, if we looked at them and really talked with them about where we can cut and what we can do, maybe it could come down a little more than that. But does anybody want to second that?
I'll second it.
Okay, can we get a roll call?
McCatton,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes,
Walker,
Yes.
Akins.
Yes.
Okay.
So I have a question. And by the way, on Stantec, I thought they were the ones that actually had a ride-along to where they had a local person that rode with them. So I may
Yeah,
have.
I think they did.
So the question, getting back to when this started of August of last year, that would be like almost 14 months ago, 13 months ago. The So we're gonna get somebody, they're gonna come in, they're gonna do the upgrade on our survey work. And the next phase to that, Maura, was that they were going to make a presentation to the city council on the structures of merit. Has that disappeared?
That's not something that's being discussed right now.
Okay, well, I'm just asking because that's how it started. And so you're saying right now that's not being discussed? Because we did have an ad hoc committee meeting that was formed
Right.
to discuss that, and I haven't really heard anything from
So
that.
when we had the last joint meeting with the city council, it was
Uh-huh.
very specific, very clear that this is not about the structures of merit, it's just the survey.
Okay, so the structures of merit are kind of still dangling out there in the never land.
Yeah, for the future.
We got to get this adopted first.
Sure, baby, I just
No, I
tried to
know.
work hard to get
I'm
it,
just saying.
push it over the finish line so I don't have to ever say those words again.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing is get this adopted, and then
Well, of course, but,
everything else will open up,
We're
because
trying to navigate.
well, I agree, but if, again, going back to the way it started before, whoever we were pursued and hired was going to do the presentation to the council. And Mara's now saying that's just not a consideration at this time.
Well, we hope what we'll come up with the survey is something that will give us a foundation for
Yeah.
doing that.
but not,
I'm all for that. I'm just telling you,
but not right
how this
now,
all
and it's
started.
not on the agenda,
No, I
so
know.
let's, I think we're done. So-
Oh,
Okay, let's
so
go to item
I'm
number
sorry,
6.
so you had a vote for those 4, and it was 4-0?
Yes,
Yes.
Okay. So, you know what you need to do? You need to pick those 2 HPC members.
well, we know it's going to be Craig Walker, and I'm happy to do it, but I'd like to see this through.
You tell me, I'm not
If-
telling
if
you.
any-
I think Gina should do it because she's the one who's really pushed for the survey and has done a lot of the legwork on it. And I'm happy to be a part of it because I know about the history and can,
But once they're hired, I really do want to step back and have it just be Commissioner Walker.
So, do the 4 of you agree that it's going to be the chair and Commissioner Walker? See, here, 4 ayes.
yes,
Aye.
Yes.
okay.
Excellent, okay.
And then hopefully we'll bring it back to the next meeting. We'll get that done and for a vote for the whole commission, correct? That's
Okay.
the
Yes.
goal.
Neverland.
Do you know, historically, have you ever been a part of something like an RFP? If we're interviewing them and we're asking them to maybe come focus in on time and cost and what the product, is it something that they're going to have to come back to us? I mean, they're not just going to be able to do it off the top of their head. when
Certainly, they'll have to come back to you.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, but
Right.
it's an iterative approach.
And it's also, it's very important for you all to hear that we're talking probably less than a month, and there's 4 different interviews, and staff has numerous deadlines. And so, if we can get 4 interviews, maybe they can all be in one day, but that needs to be approved by somebody above me to be a part of that. So we'll be in touch, okay?
Okay, thank you. Okay, item number 6 is the education update. So we have the doors open, which is something that Craig is a part of this coming up next.
Well, I recommend it because it's 4 weekends, so you don't just have to come to my presentation at the Gables. You can go to Los Angeles or San Francisco or San Diego, and they have all these properties that are open for people to walk through and learn about. So I'm just happened to be doing one on Sunday at the Gables that'll be from 9 to 12. So if you're interested, just Google Doors Open California, and you'll come to their website and you get yourself enrolled. And then you'll also have a ticket that will allow you to go any of the other weekends, Saturday or Sunday. But we're only doing ours that one time, just
Is it-
on Sunday.
Is that this coming weekend?
Huh?
Is that this coming weekend?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't see it when I looked. I didn't see that Ojai was on there. I really wanted to to
Yeah, it's
something in
this
LA.
Sunday. It'll be from 10 to 12.
Okay, so Craig is talking out to the public, but for us, if we want to go, we need to let Maura know, so she can sign us up, because we are members. So I would like to be signed up for that. I will email you.
Please, thank you. If anybody wants to be signed up, send us an email.
Okay. And, yeah, so that's it for today on that. And then item number 7, which is our future agenda items. Anything you'd like to tell us about this, Maura?
Well, at the October meeting, I believe we should be highly focused. I'm like, really want you all to be focused on Ojai Day and having a crystal clear schedule for yourselves. And again, it's not about me. I'm not going to be in on it, but I want you to do that for yours, so it works really well for all of you. And I will be there certainly for the night before, and I'll see you the day of. But also at the October 9th meeting, we hope to have a recommendation coming, or another staff report coming back to you for the RFPs. So that would also be on October 9th, that you don't see here on this paper, on this schedule. And let's see. That's all that we have right now. When I say that's all, there's nothing small about it. Okay.
And then everything down here all looks right to me, so I guess that's it with that. Can we go on to, do we have any planning report?
I do not have a planning report for you this evening.
Do we have any commissioner comments? I think,
I do.
yes.
So twofold, I was asked to get an update on the RFP. That's part of the process that was approved by the city council. The mayor, Andy Gilman, does a brown bag in the park, usually the first Monday of each month. He did it in the second Monday this time, so I just talked to him last weekend. I asked him about the RFP, and this is the RFP that's for the backyard property over here to clean it out, something that Laura and I have been talking with them for a while. So it was mentioned, it was talked about, and Andy said, right now we have too many RFPs. So not a good answer. I'm going to follow up with Kathy Nolan and see if she has anything that's going on their side, since they're working to get things done and get a report that they're going to put together. But that report's not due out from them until mid to early next year. So
What was the community day where it was volunteers to, what was that about? Was that about doing cleanup?
that was something that Kathy talked about, and starting in October, which is only next month. So,
Okay.
but not really a active thing. Don't know how much fun that would be. To me, it'd be fun. I mean, you're out in the thing. Other service they do for churches, like moving people, that's not so fun. So, yeah, so I'm going to check in with Kathy, but nothing more from the city hall. They talked about goals on Tuesday night, but I was like sleeping under the chair by then.
And did you
So-
want to add on to the next agenda about bringing the El Robler back?
I do.
And do we have another commissioner that wants to do that?
I do.
And I do too, so.
Great, thank you. The other thing on commissioner comments, and we're right, a prime example of that. So week before last, I sent an email to Mara saying what's happening with our vacancies, because we worked very hard to get 7, and we're currently at 6. And Randy Levitt resigned over 3 months ago. So now we have 6 and a 3 to 3. So I asked Mara. Mara asked our deputy city clerk, Weston, and Weston said, I haven't received any indication from the chair, to which I then said, I don't think that's how it happens, because said chairs can manipulate the composition, so.
I actually have an update, and
do,
well,
because-
the
I have an
the-
update
the
too.
The update is that deputy city clerk works with the chair, and not other commissioners. So
So
that-
Congratulations. Could I do a response to that?
So I can give you a response to that. So I talked to Weston, I gave him a call after you talked to me and said, you need to do this, because I thought it would just organically happen, so I wasn't. So I called Weston, and he said that for me to call the mayor, and so the mayor would then call him, and then that would get the ball rolling, and then we would be first to, because I guess there's another commission that's going to be looking for somebody, so.
Planning Commission.
Right, so they wanted us in, if I wanted to be in front of it, to do that. So I went ahead and contacted the mayor, and I told him that we wanted to do that, and he also wanted to talk to me about it, and we're gonna meet tomorrow. And the person who will be the council person is Leslie Rule.
Okay, yeah, I wondered about that, I couldn't find. So after that put down, here's my response. You know, I wouldn't be asking the question if in fact the Maddie report was more recent than May of 2024. The Maddie report is the one that lists all of our commission members, who recommended them, what their terms are, and that hasn't been updated until since May of 2024. And it is a report that shows on the front page under government. So, and I mentioned that to the mayor at the meeting last Monday. So,
And at some point,
get me the information and I don't have to make a phone call.
since we're talking about openings, after we get our 7th member, I would like to bring it around and talk about getting a student. A student member, like they have on the, or had on the Parks and Rec. I think that getting some young person that's interested in government and history and where they live might be fun. So I would like to have that brought back at some point, but not
I
now.
think that's a great idea.
But they wouldn't be a regular member.
No, they would
No,
just,
nor a voting member.
they would just,
Yeah.
participate.
And then when they decide to do the process, they'll put one of those notices in the paper that is requesting people.
Yeah, and I would
Yeah.
probably contact the superintendent too, so it went out to the
No,
schools.
I mean for just a member of.
Oh, yes.
For a member of the commission, Craig,
Yeah,
another sore point.
what?
Another sore point. So the good news is we now have a human resources director. And I think because of a human resources director, I actually saw an advertisement for the planning commission in the Ojai Valley News once. So,
All right, well, we'll do better, right?
I will
Well,
keep, I will,
yes,
now that I have the ball rolling, I will
not
keep,
us,
I-
it's-
yeah, as far as for us, I will make sure now that we have the ball rolling, and I will make sure it's all
Let us know,
done.
because I have a couple of people I might ask.
Yes, well, I'm letting you know now.
Yeah, all right.
And they have to be city residents, because we are at our limit for non-city residents.
Okay.
the three of us here.
Yeah, I'm the only city resident tonight. Okay, so is that it? Do we have anything else? Any other commissioner comments?
Well, I have a comment about the RFPs being too many of them. I guess that means that they don't have the money to clean up the yard, is how I'm interpreting that. I mean, I'm shooting blind here about what's going on. I really would like to find out, as a commission, why Public Works isn't maintaining or doesn't have a budget to just come weekly to clean up trash and pick up dead weeds and just keep the backyard and just help at least a little bit with the fire hardening of it. I just don't understand why it's been allowed to deteriorate to the extent that it has. And I would love it if somebody could second that and we can get it on the agenda so we can start talking about this responsibility of this, helping keep this building from burning down.
Amen.
Okay?
Is that a second?
To what Laurel said?
Mhm.
Oh, I fully support what Laurel said.
Okay, so I'm making a motion that we put on the agenda in October to find out who is in charge of asking Public Works to take care of it, because clearly nobody is in charge.
So
But
how about
I'm
if we just,
I'm just wondering if that's something within our purview as a
Yeah.
Well, it
commission.
should be, because it's a historic property, and the
Right,
So-
but we
historic,
wouldn't go to a private owner and
Mm.
say you have to clean up your yard, would we? I mean, isn't that up to the owner to keep their,
it's up to the city of Ojai to take care of this property.
I think that the mayor has a brown bag, and there's also a meeting in the park, and there's also city council meetings to go and talk to your
We've all
city
done
council.
that.
But
It's not going anywhere, so I would like us to try to have a discussion.
so how about if we tighten it up and we just say, the landmarked property that is city-owned, that's City Hall, if we can discuss about where the HPC fits in the maintenance and upkeep. And we, just start there.
I
I
think we
don't
could
think- see why
definitely make
we-
a recommendation. but
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I already talked to Kathy about that routinely or regularly, when she has meetings.
Kathy has
that are
been
talking about
working,
that.
she's told me 20 years. We're not talking about designing a yard, we're talking about cleaning up the trash and the debris.
Backyard, the front, when you come in, where the wisteria and all the plants, they're all beautiful. So obviously, they have some sort of weekly service for the front.
So I just, comment, question, has anybody, to your knowledge, either here or in the community, put anything on My Ojai as a complaint to the city regarding trash on city property?
Have you tried that?
No, but this is not just trash, it's like falling down trees. People can't fix, we need
You can
some,
complain about anything you want to on this.
okay, all right. What a waste.
I've actually done a My Ojai, so we'll work together.
So we're about to close the meeting. Kim, are you here
That's
for it?
that's my husband.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We want to see if we can catch any of
My
Rufus
husband.
playing tonight at the bowl, so we're gonna walk over to the Libby Bowl, because there's a concert tonight.
Oh, nice.
Okay, are we done? Yeah, okay.